Hey everybody, we are back again. It is myself, Christy Renee, and Coach Jabari. We are back at the Sports Influencers Roundtable session, and this is the one I think we've all been waiting for. This is a great lineup we have today. We are bringing to the table coaches from both high school and from AAU. And we are bringing everybody together so that we can have this one big conversation about bridging the gap between the two. There have been some things that go on every year, I guess, some struggles and some challenges, and so we're bringing some top leadership in both of those worlds to discuss certain things and just have a really good, healthy, open dialogue and some resolutions.
Absolutely. Looking forward to this. This is one of the hottest topics out there, has been for quite some time. This is not a debate. This is not the AAU versus high school debate that you probably have been accustomed to hearing. This is more so about bridging the gap with the way the basketball world is working now, and the NBA coming in and pretty much taking a shot at the NCAA with the new program that's going to pluck the kids away. You know, I think the timing is now more than ever to everybody getting on the same page and working together for the sake of the kid that's trying to get to the next level, because it's that much harder for him. So we brought a big time cast together today to discuss this topic, a wide range of perspectives, guys and gals who have been in the business on both sides of the equation. Whether they're coaching at the high school level, whether they're AAU program director or whatnot, they have a lot of knowledge and wisdom on this topic. So we're going to kind of open up the dialogue and get some perspectives and hope we can come up with some solutions. My goal is to come up with some solutions to this today, you know, where we can all walk away doing our part to coexist for the sake of that athlete that's in our program. So looking forward to it. Got a big time audience lined up.
Indeed. So get ready. Let's go ahead and bring everybody in, all of our guests, to the round table. Y'all go ahead and unmute your cameras and pop in. All right, backdrops. Come on, backdrops. We're going to start giving out awards for co-chairs. We're going to start giving out awards for backdrops. I am so impressed.
Where's Hollywood Nick? Nick, I don't know. Yolanda Harris got you, man.
Somebody had to start it, baby. Somebody had to start it. You know, I'm in the Bay. I'll be back tomorrow, y'all.
Nick on Olin Mills.
Ladies and gentlemen, appreciate each and every one of you guys joining us today on the broadcast. I'm really looking forward to this topic, as you are. We've had a lot of conversations offline about this, so now we wanted to bring it online and impact the masses with a candid conversation. So, again, appreciate you guys joining us. We're going to dive right on in.
So let's go ahead and jump into some introductions. I'm just going to call out coach and last name, but y'all do a full introduction of yourselves. Coach Harris, let's start with you.
Hey, I'm Yo. Well, everybody know me as Yo, but Coach Yo, Coach Harris. I'm the varsity assistant at Cleve High School. Proud graduate of DeSoto High School and Stephen F. Austin. Some know me as the Twins mom who played with DFW Elite. Urban Heroes. Sorry. And my oldest Zay played with DFW Elite. So I'm just a nobody that knows everybody.
All right, let's go ahead. Coach Stovall, you're up next.
Hi, I'm Coach Stovall, the head girls basketball coach at Pinkston High School. Welcome to be on this panel.
Coach Peavy.
I'm David Peavy. I'm the head boys basketball coach at Duncanville High School. Been a high school coach all around the state, Dallas, Houston, Austin, and San Antonio, and coached at Stephen F. Austin, assistant at Stephen F. Austin, and at Incarnate Word. So, and I was AAU with hard work.
All right, Coach James.
How y'all doing? Demarques James, head boys coach at ODY High School in Fort Worth. Also, coached coming through when I was younger, the AAU ranks with Texas Select and Dallas Slam. And I appreciate you guys having me.
All right, Coach Mobley. Oh, my Lord. Coach Mobley, your microphone is muted.
How y'all doing? I'm Damien Mobley. I'm the head boys basketball coach at the great James Madison High School.
All right, Coach Phelps.
Cleve Phelps, West Texas Force, former high school basketball coach, former college coach, and now started the AAU program in West Texas Force.
All right, Coach Williams.
Paul Williams, head basketball coach at Arlington High School, graduate of Dunbar High School, 93 state champs.
Already, Paul.
All right, Coach Caruthers.
Kelly Caruthers, head coach at Arlington Bowie in Arlington, Texas.
Coach Theresa Nunn.
Hi, my name is Nunn. I am a former high school coach in San Antonio. I also was the director of the South Texas Hoyas, which currently I technically still am on the boys' side now. And then I'm a parent of a girl and a boy going through this journey. So.
Okay. All right, Coach Thomas.
All right, Vonzel Thomas, co-director of Southern Assault Adidas AAU basketball team, co-director with Jazzy Hartwell, and that's it.
All right, y'all bear with us. We're having some technical issues. It started raining. All right, let's pick up. Coach Walker, it's your turn.
I'm Laquita Walker. I am the head girls basketball coach at Lancaster High School. And I'm just happy to be here.
Just happy to be here. I know that's right. All right, Coach Smith, come on.
I'm Coach Nicke Smith, quarterback, D. Kimball High School. Been at Kimball the last 6 years. Before that, I was the head coach at Pinkston High School. Coached all over in Dallas, pretty much. Texas Blue Chips AAU. Also was one of the founders of Dallas Showtime AAU, so I've actually been on both sides. What's up, Noah? What's up, Reese?
All right, Coach Douglas. Unmute your mic and tell us who you are and what you do.
Yes, Ferrin Douglas, head boys basketball coach, Lancaster High School. I'm a product of Slam and Jam AAU, Coach Wright. They started it. I'm affiliated right now, AAU basketball with the Gators, Oak Cliff Gators, and Urban DFW League.
All right, Coach Shelton.
Todd Shelton, assistant coach currently at Panola Junior College, former high school head coach at Haltom High School in Gatesville. As with Nick, one of the founders of Dallas Showtime, and then also spent some time in the front office with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
All right. And Coach Wright, good to see you again. Go ahead and take your – there you go.
Okay. Good to see you. How's everybody doing?
Fantastic.
Coach Wright. Well, let's go. Former founder of AAU basketball in Dallas, former college coach at the University of Texas, Texas A&M, TCU, George Washington, former high school coach at Carter High School, and formerly coaching with girls, DFW League. Now I coach the Team Lex girls, and I'm just wearing a lot of hats. I'm not coaching, I'm just helping out with the girls.
Excellent. Coach Howard.
Hello, everyone. Legina Howard, head coach at Duncanville High School for the Pantherettes 6A state championship team. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Let's see, Coach Dixon.
Hi, Carlesa Dixon, currently the head coach at Summer Creek High School in Houston. I am from South Dallas, Texas, though, representing all day, every day.
Every day. Sunny South. All right, I think we got everybody. Did we miss anybody? Because it's a bunch of y'all.
I think we got everybody.
We got everybody. All right. Let me just make a quick director's note. If anybody has any background noise, go ahead and if you're watching this also live on Facebook, mute your phone. Okay, excellent. All right, let's jump right in.
Yeah, guys and gals, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to start with Coach Wright. Coach Wright, would you please talk about the history of basketball in DFW? And then also briefly talk about the differences that you see then versus now.
Well, back in the 80s, early 80s, I was a middle school coach, but in 1986, a few high school coaches got together with myself, being from New York, and all had already played and played street basketball and played. We decided that we probably try to put some teams together, but we knew UIL wouldn't allow us to play basketball at that time. We only were allowed to play 20 games in those years, and we wasn't traveling at all with no camps. So we had a summer league called Jam, and all the high school coaches were involved in it. They would all meet, and right at the beginning of the year, and we put infuse all our boys together. It wasn't girls; it was just boys, and we came up with games where we had competition against each other. So we didn't have no AAU teams. It was just strictly league games. We didn't start traveling to 1987 when AAU opened up in the state of Texas. Then we started going to Vegas and we started traveling, and we had a lot of teams started forming, but it started in 86. And Houston had a group, and his name was Jay Parker, and he started about the same time we did. So it's basically, you know, it was going to evolve. And what I see today with the involvement on both sides, been on all three levels. I mean, I just think that the high school coaches should be more involved with the AAU programs. I'm sure they are, just like Ferrin just said, he's affiliated because they work both hand in hand. You can't work without it. Prior to all of what we've been doing with the shoe contracts and everything, I've had every shoe contract, and even some that just faded out. So we've had everything, and it worked. We shared it. We gave them to the schools. We put everything here. So I just look at it as everybody work hand in hand now, and it'll work. So I'm just going to listen and hear where the problems are, what you guys talk about or what's going on, and then I can have input because I'm not coaching high school at this moment. So I don't know what the landscape is between what's going on with AAU and what's going on versus. I just know we all worked together for over 20-something years, and it worked. So I just want to listen in now and see what you guys have to say.
Sounds good. Now, here we go. We're going to go around the table. I'm going to call a couple of high school coaches, and I want you guys to speak on the following. What are some of the challenges you face as a high school coach in regards to your players' AAU participation? So what are some of the challenges that you face? Todd Shelton, we'll start with, as a former high school coach and a former AAU coach, now coaching at the college level.
Honestly, Jabari, I've never really had any problems with AAU. Like Coach Wright said, like I wore both hats. So, you know, I can say this now because I'm not in high school and I won't get any UIL violation. But, you know, I would bring my kids to the Showtime practice or, you know, open my gym up. Like I have a story to tell later about, you know, kind of a story about Whit Bunzel. So to me, there's no challenges. Like if you work hand in hand together, it should work out, you know, perfectly. The problem is, and I want to hear from other people, is when, you know, the lanes get crossed and people don't respect each other's boundaries, because it should be a perfect situation. I mean, one is in, you know, the spring and doesn't really cross over to the other, except, you know, maybe for some spring and summer league games, but I'll touch on that later.
Coach Walker, how about you on the girls' side? What are some of the challenges you face as a high school coach in regards to your players' AAU participation?
Okay, I think the only thing that I have or that bothers me is when you have your AAU tryouts during the playoff. Like you try out and we going into playoffs, and then you're getting your team going for tryouts. That's a big deal. And another thing is, because I played AAU, and my AAU coach he used to come to the game all the time. But before we were at practice, he would let us know, if you hear me in the stands, do not look at me, because that's disrespectful, and I'm not disrespecting your coach. I'm just a fan in the stands giving you, encouragement. And for just to come to the game and expect our kids to turn around to listen to them, I think that's a problem that I have. Be that disrespectful, because I wouldn't come to your AAU game and do the same, because they're my kid too, So I just think it's got to be some boundaries there, where you can speak to them in the stands and you can talk to them, but not where you're asking them to turn around and look at you in your eyes so that they can see what you're saying. I don't like that.
Okay. Coach Douglas, how about you?
My situation is probably a lot different, but probably because of what, how I was raised. Like I say, I was raised up under Coach Wright, and when they started Slam and Jam. So, and Coach Wright was a coach at the time. So I just saw how his relationship was with our high school coach once we left junior high from him, and he was still involved with AAU at the same time. So, I just feel like you just need to build a relationship with the high school coaches, and let them know that your kids are going to be secure playing, with them in the summertime, and it won't be no type of, you trying to, move the kids from one school to the next. If you're not doing that type of stuff, and then, like I say, but if you just build a rapport with the coaches, that's what I've done. I have a real good rapport with my son's AAU coach, and the coaches who coach my kids in the summer. So I just, and I stay out the way. I don't want to step on nobody's toes. I'm just there to support the kids and watch them play during the summer times. And I expect that same, respect, during my season. But like I said, I've seen Coach Wright do it, and it can work. And I've seen it work, like he say, over the past 20 years. So it's been great for me.
Coach Howard, how about you?
Coach Howard.
All right, there I go. Hello, I'm back. I believe in that old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. I believe in that AAU and the high school basketball, we can work hand in hand. There's things that you learn during AAU time, more confidence in your game as an individual. You learn how to have responsibility of preparing yourself mentally for games, as far as, the AAU is a tad bit more open for student athletes. And then on the school ball end of it, you learn some things that you may not learn in AAU. As long as the two pass, as long as the AAU coaches and the high school coaches respect each other's time and respect what both coaches and both programs have going, and what they're trying to build within the kid, then I believe that we can work together.
Yeah.
Damien Mobley, Madison High School. How are you, sir? Talk a little bit about some of the
I'm good.
you face.
Well, I'm sure pretty much like Coach Doug said, when it comes to challenges, really don't have too many challenges, man, because I tried to stay a little bit. I was introduced to actually Dallas basketball through AAU down here. So a lot of my close friends, or the circle that I do know down in Dallas, by me coming from Chicago, was actually through AAU basketball. So I try to keep a good relationship with the guys, but we have some challenges just, demographically and geographically in our area. While, a lot of my kids, man, it has become so much of a business and, a compensatory thing that a lot of my kids have been priced out of AAU. So, a lot of times you don't see a lot of Madison kids playing on the top teams or playing on these big teams because, like I tell my kids, it's usually based on the 3 E's we like to use. 3 elites. You either have elite size, a very elite skill set or elite political resources. And usually none of my kids don't have now 3 of those. And so, you know, I just try to create that AAU atmosphere amongst ourselves, you know what I mean? So pretty much our challenges is pretty much financially more than anything, you know. So we just try to overcompensate or compensate that by me playing them as much as we can in the little local leagues and things like that, man. So, you know, we don't have a problem with it, man. You know, I appreciate the AAU guys, though, all the time. And I just love basketball, so it doesn't matter to me either way.
Coach Demarques James, Fort Worth OD Wyatt High School. Big time year out of you guys this year. Congratulations again. Talk a little bit about some of your challenges. You've coached on the grassroots and the high school side. So talk a little bit about some of your challenges, if any.
Honestly, Jabari, we haven't had any challenges or problems. You know, we kind of use that thing to our advantage. You know, before I took over as head coach, you know, we had a few kids here and there playing on different summer teams, but we made it a point, you know, to take those groups every year and go throw them in the fire and put them up against the best competition as possible. You know, I started out with select when it was still going, and we've had kids with AAB, used to be formerly AAB, now is Nationwide Athletes. And we've also had kids play for the Fmr and several other Fort Worth organizations, and also this past summer they played with Craft 5. So I'm a big believer in those guys going to go play during the spring and the summer, because those guys, you know, they go back, they'll go and they'll come back, different players playing against the high-level competition during the summertime, and that thing do wonders for kids' confidence. And they come back and bring it to the high school season, and then we just keep it rolling because, you know, we play the toughest schedules possible anyway. So a lot of those kids, you know, are used to playing against those guys anyway because they did it all year round. So we've seen the growth from when we first took over, from when the kids was kind of starstruck to now. You know, our guys, they are as one of the top guys around the state. So, you know, I feel like it works hand in hand. I haven't had any issues, and I don't foresee any issues. You know, I just think everybody should work together.
Paul Williams, Arlington High School.
Well, I haven't had any big issues, but I've seen some things that kind of concern me. A lot of times we look at it, I have the basketball guys for the school months and AAU have them for the summer. And we need to understand that if we're going to partner together, we have them 12 months out of the year. And let's work and get these guys on the right page 12 months out of the year. And it just has to be that way. Shout out an example, Coach Jazz and Coach Perk. I had an issue with a player, not even basketball related. And I told those guys about it. I look up in the middle of the school day, they there to check on that kid. And it meant a lot to them because I said they in the fire with me. And I think we got to be that way instead of saying, you got them in the summer, I got them during the school months. So.
Let me see, did I make sure I get to my – Coach Stovall, talk to me about your challenges, if any. Pinkston High School, big-time season out of you guys. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Like the other coaches expressed, I really haven't had any challenges this year, but like Coach Mobley was saying, most of our challenges are with the kids financially, and then, you know, making sure they have an opportunity to play beyond just the high school ball. So finding a team that will take them and make sure that they have a good fit with them and they just not sitting there and not playing at all. So my thing is just trying to get the kids to play beyond playing at, you know, high school ball at Pinkston. So, and that was my ultimate goal. I mean, I've had a great number of AAU coaches that I've been communicating with and building that relationship with. And I think that's the most important thing, you know, so that we know what each other's expectations is.
I think it's really big to kind of hone in on the fact that, you know, everybody's pretty much saying the same thing in regards to boundaries. You know, everybody respecting one another's boundaries regardless of what the season is and building that relationship. You know, this is a relationship business at the end of the day, and that goes for high school and grassroots coaches as well, you know, for those guys to work together for the sake of the kid. So I'm going to shift over to some of my grassroots coaches. Theresa Nunn, I'll start with you. Now, I want you to give me the other side of that perspective. Talk from a AAU coach's perspective on some of your challenges with your players' high school participation, if any.
Well, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. With Hoyas here in San Antonio, I didn't necessarily have a challenge because I always try to be proactive. So I would always reach out to the high school coaches, even when I was, trying to start getting kids, even before I got them. And just, out of common courtesy and respect, so they know right away that I was trying to build a relationship. So I didn't necessarily see too many challenges there. Here is a lot more behind in terms of, well, not now, but back when I started in 2005, of knowing, a lot about AAU. So it was a challenge initially, but now I'm in Dallas. I coached at the EYBL level, and I think with that, it was kind of the same thing. I just still try to communicate with high school coaches that wanted to be involved. So especially the younger high school coaches or not necessarily younger, but the up-to-date ones that know that having that relationship is good. So we didn't see too many obstacles as far as that was concerned. It was more so just, I think as a whole, it's just watered down to know whose, intentions are what. And I think that's kind of the biggest thing that I've seen, just even from a parent perspective, is what are people's intentions? What are their ulterior motives? And not everybody has them, but unfortunately, because it's so watered down, I feel like even with the high school coaches, when I was coaching with high school too, it's like you have to really dig to build those relationships because you don't know what people are trying to accomplish. And if they don't have the kids, as the number one priority, it's already going to be blurred. And I think that's kind of where the problem comes in with everything, with high school, with AAU, and as a parent, is because it's so watered down now. It's like, who do you trust? And who, as a coach on both sides, who do you trust to build that relationship with? I mean, we've seen some things, kind of go left because of that. So it's just really knowing who to trust, relying on the people that have already been there longer than you to give you that advice. And that's kind of how I had to navigate through both sides of it, and it has worked out okay so far.
Okay. Vonzel Thomas, Southern Assault, formerly YDP. You guys just won a AAU national title, and then you came over and merged with Jazzy at Urban Elite to form Southern Assault. You've been doing this a long time, and you're one of the guys who always pretty much has pretty good relationships on the high school side. But talk a little bit about some of the challenges you've seen, if any, and what can be done.
Well, with me, I feel, the biggest challenge for both sides is ego. This is my personal opinion. And I feel the relationship is very important. And the reason why I say a high school coach and a grassroots coach relationship is important, because you think about it, while we're playing, prep school coaches is recruiting also. They're at the tournaments. So, like, if I have a really, really good relationship with somebody and I hear a rumor or something like that, like one of my kids talking about leaving to go out of state to this prep school, I can kill it. I can be like, no, it's not going to happen. But it's a difference when that high school coach is just not, supporting you, or, y'all don't have that relationship. Now, that relationship also go the other way, because when the high school coach is coaching, it's grassroots coaches at their games recruiting. They can protect your players the exact same way. So both have to go hand in hand. It have to. And also the high school coach has resources that grassroots coaches don't have. you can, you know, they can send they can send the transcripts, the grades, they can do all that stuff. We can't do that. But we can, what we have is that, just being real honest, the political side. The political side, we can work the recruiting and get these kids recruited in a different way. But at the same time, I've also heard, I know this bad, but I've also heard some coaches say, it's not my job to get you in college. Well, it is your job. It's both our jobs. We have to work together, right? Now, besides that, I feel that my only challenge is that as a grassroots coach, we only get gyms certain days of the week for us to practice. You know, just say for example, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now, my only challenge is when I get a phone call from the parent or the kid and say, I can't come to practice because my coach made it mandatory that I play in the spring league. Now, especially when we have a game that weekend, you know, that's my only challenge, is because the gym space is limited already. And when we get it where we can finally have practice, we can't really have, you know, everybody. If it's mandatory, you play in the spring league. Now, like I said, but I get along with every high school coach. You know, I've never had a true problem. Only had a problem with one guy, but that was more of a power move. But other than that, everything's been great with me, with all high school coaches.
Hey, Bar, can I jump in and say something on that?
Yes, sir. Then Coach Peavy, we're gonna go to you next.
So Vonzel might not remember this, but I do. I was at South Hills, and I want to say it was maybe like 2008 when he had Tony Mitchell or something like that. And so like Vonzel said, he only gets to gym certain times. I think it was a Tuesday, Thursday. And he had a friend of mine who was another high school coach killing the team. And the same thing came up. You know, I don't like him playing on Tuesdays and Thursdays because of a spring league game. And so like Vonzel said, it's about ego. So this guy respected me, didn't really know Vonzel, and he asked me my opinion. You know, with me being a high school coach, I said, listen, this is how I look at it, man, that once March 1st is over, whenever your playoff run is over, your regular season, you turn over to the AAU coach because of the exposure these kids can have. You know, in the spring and summer league, you're not going to get that exposure. I know a high school coach is going to say, well, the bonding experience. Well, you have that bonding experience in fall league. And so I reached out to the high school coach, and I just said, listen, man, like, I think it's important for him to miss to go practice on Tuesdays and Thursdays to be able to showcase his skills on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday in front of 100 AAU coaches. I don't know if I ever told Vonzel this story. And so the high school coach coming from another high school coach backed off, and that's just how I looked at that situation. You know, just that he was going to have time to develop with his teammates in that fall league, and that was just my take on it. And the high school coach understood it. I don't think him and Vonzel, you know, had a problem. I don't even know if Vonzel knew about it, but that was just my take to him.
He said that.
Coach P, you got an interesting perspective as a state champion and also been involved with the AAU scene and even an AAU parent. So,
right,
talk a little bit about some of the challenges you've seen, you've experienced, if any, and what can be done.
We haven't had any challenges per se. You know, we're really big on the whole process and letting our kids be seen in the spring and the summer with that. We understand how this thing works. You know, being on the platform we are at Duncanville, yeah, our kids get seen, but they still don't get seen the way they will in the spring and in the summer. So we stay completely out of the way. And as a matter of fact, everything we do in the spring and in the summer ties in what they're doing in the summer. As far as our workouts, we cut back when it gets close to their tournament. You know, but challenges happen when there's no communication and there's a lack of respect. So, you know, we try to communicate as much as we can with their coaches, their AAU coaches, and then understand, you know, it is different. You know, our job is different than their job. You know, but we all have the same job as far as taking care of these kids and making sure that they achieve the goals that that they're trying to achieve.
Indeed.
Kelly Caruthers, you've been at the high school level, you've been at the Team USA level. You got a very interesting perspective on this whole thing. Talk a little bit about some of the challenges you've seen or faced, if any.
Honestly, everybody, I mean, pretty much touched on all the challenges that we deal with at Bowie. I have a wide selection of kids. So my younger kids really don't play AAU. So I've gone to Facebook and everywhere I can possibly think of as far as getting ideas and just asking around who has AAU teams that are local, because a lot of our complaints, parents don't want to drive their kids to Dallas, or they don't want to drive to Plano or Frisco or wherever. So they want a local team, and cost is another issue. But I think everybody pretty much hit it on the head. Respect. I like working with AAU coaches. I think it's a necessity. I've even opened up my gym to have tournaments there, to AAU teams and coaches. And I mean, we work together. Just like Vonzel said, you got to get the transcripts from the high school coach. So I have AAU coaches calling me saying, hey, coach, can you get this and send this to this college? Absolutely. That's what my job is. So.
Carlesa Dixon, Summer Creek High School. Let's hear what your perspective on this whole.
Well, my perspective, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but I want to say that kind of what Vaughn said is kind of the thing that sticks out to me the most. It has to do with egos. I think on both ends, you have coaches on the high school and the AAU circuit who want to just take credit for things. You know what I'm saying? And it shouldn't be about that. It should be about working together to get that kid to the next level. And I just think that if both coaches can remove the ego part out of it, then it could be a beautiful partnership. Respecting the season is big. I'm big on not, again, we don't do the spring ball, summer ball, none of that, because I want my kids focusing on AAU ball in their AAU season, not to get burnt out as well. So I just think that we both have to kind of, the communication has to be there, but it has to start with respect at the end of the day. You got to respect what each other do. So, but yeah, so I totally agree with what I've heard from everybody.
I have one more issue.
Yes, sir.
One of my biggest pet peeves or my biggest issue is if an AAU coach on any level wants to come to an Arlington High game, you will get in free. But then I have to turn around and pay Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to get in to see my high school kids play. And to me, that it should be a partnership. High school coaches shouldn't have to pay to get into AAU tournaments, as AAU coaches shouldn't have to pay to get into a high school game.
Let me say this. Let me say something right quick, Demarques.
Okay.
Let me say something. Piggybacking off what Paul just said. We can go back to all the communication with everybody communicating with each other. Because like even with myself hosting an event, if I know you coming, I'm gonna put you on the pass list. If I don't know you coming and I'm somewhere else, like on court 6, and you walk in the gym and have to pay, I can't do nothing for you then. I can see you in the wave at you, try to get you your money back after, but that's about it. That's about it.
All right, who else? There was some other hands that went up. Go ahead, speak freely.
Coach Nick.
All right, what I wanted to say about that, Coach, in Arlington, that one thing about me is I try to be visible as much as I can from the varsity level to the freshman level and try to go see all my kids. I may go to Oklahoma, Atlanta. I'm in Vegas every year because I want them to see their high school coaches supporting them. And if you get around a little bit and start going to these games, they don't know who you are. And when you walk in, there's not one time I haven't gone to maybe a tournament Vonzel was throwing or Dallas Showtime or anybody, any AAU team jazzing them. I walk up, they see me, they're like, come on, Nick, come on in. You know, or let me give you a band to go on in because I'm at those games. And I know sometimes we have other things going on. But for one, when we talked about trust, that was one thing I wanted to talk about is, you know, my kids don't play for everybody all over the city and state. You know, I try to find a few guys that I'm comfortable with I know they're going to look out for my kids. They're going to get them better in the offseason. Plus, they're not going to be trying to send them nowhere else. So it may be 4 or 5 AAU teams that I associate with that I know these are good programs, whether it's on a high level or a lower level for those younger kids so they can move up to those higher levels. But for the most part, I work well with all the coaches, you know, and do the best that I can. If I do try to play spring league if we can, but what I'll do is if they're practicing on the Wednesday, I try to find a particular spring league that may be playing on a Monday night or when, you know, something that doesn't clash with what they're doing. In June, I know a lot of games aren't going on the weekends in June. I know they go from March all the way through May. Sometimes June is used for camps and other things like that. So that's when we'll do our strength and conditioning for the month of June, and then we'll stop it because if they go into July, you know, they're back on the circuit again. We don't do nothing in July at all. You know, I just go out to those games, and like I said, even going to the Great American Shootouts, you know, if you got a coach's card or whatever like that, TABC or whatever, you know, you get in free. But I don't remember many games of me having to pay in unless it's just, you know, going to watch some 6th graders or 7th graders or something like that.
Let me jump in for a minute, Jabbar. Let me ask a question to everyone, especially the high school coaches, and I'm talking to myself too. Development is big with me, and I'm sure it is with you guys. So are you